mentioned previously. DRX having super versatile team comp. You can go a lot of modes, you can kite back, you can play aggressively, right? You can knock people out of your lamps respite. And Freded Brion, on the other hand, their comp is looking a little bit disjointed, and that's like the one downside of this early Hecarim pick. I think it's a strong meta pick, but outside of champions like Lilia specifically, I don't necessarily think it's like blind pickable. What Umti can do though is go for the chem tank, Pony, right, like provide a reliable front line.
Yep.
Then you have Yaharong and Hannah that can just dish out enough damage, and normally a 2 carry comp is a little bit scary, but when one of those carries is Jinx, you're like, that one thing that, similar to Aphelios,
yeah,
Jinx needs repositioning, kind of. Now you just have like, you have bodies in front of it. But if there's ever a flanking possibility,
a slight advantage when it comes to lane positioning and things like that, really able to open up the map, but it hasn't really spelled any sort of advantage when it comes to farm. And now Umti thinking about trying to find his way around for a potential gank, as the teleport will come in from Yaharong. And here we go, devastating charge comes down, bubble connects as well as the flash is going to be used straight into the paddle star. This should be first blood, as Umti's going to pick it up for himself, and that'll save him in the jungle 100%. Though the setup from Yaharong was very, very nice. Also pre-fired the paddle star towards where the devastating charge was going to come in, as we are going to have an attract repel stun, and Pureshik's just dead. Goodbye, Mr. Kindred. Pureshik giveth, Pureshik taketh away is something that we say probably too much, however, remains extraordinarily relevant.
And coming into this game, you know, I was joking about like who is the real anime protagonist, because we don't really know yet in the LCK. There needs to be one, right? There can be one team.
True.
And I thought up until this point it was Pureshik.
I think that this is actually like when it comes to like blue shells, like DRX have been a blue shell that's actually done too much winning, right? So that they're no longer actually that. But Freded Brion are 100% pure uncut blue shell.
The pod armor is gone.
Well, so is the Orianna in the mid lane, as Umti just flies on forward. It's all too easy. Super Mega Death Rocket just sails by majestically to scope out the rest of the map. But
make great use of the Herald to pick it up on top there. Hoya, I think there's situations where you can try and defend that turret, but it's definitely a high-risk situation. Talk about high-risk. Teleport's coming in.
Yeah, big teleport. Bow's just going to be executed, though. Killer Instinct gets him back underneath the turret, but Henna should be there to grab this kill. They're flooding through now as the Jinx gets so excited. Outside of turret range, back in again. The Zap's going to miss as he tries to flash, but Zolka's going to be able to pick that one on. That's a beautiful sombrero that he puts on for himself, but Delight is going to flash away. Now Umti with that attract repel wants to try and stop them here, as it's a bit of a fade away. Solko still wanting to come through and grab even more. Freded Brion are going to make it out. That could have been so much better for them though. It'd be so important. But Umti doesn't want to let this happen. Hoya's moving on down from the top side, as it is going to be the mark secured for Pureshik, but is he going to survive? The train is going to just miss, but the Kindred not going to be so lucky to fear last for just that little bit too long. And no Lamb's Respite is able to come out.
That's the light with the MVP attract and repel right there, because it's, as you say, it's so important you get the stun lock on the Kindred, otherwise their play might be completely turned around.
Was that fear into stun?
Oh,
because
yeah.
It did seem like it lasted a little bit longer than it should have.
It was perfect.
Both of these compositions do scale quite nicely, but we do need to bring that sort of range problem into the fore, as Umti's trying to devastatingly charge away, but he's not going to be able to. In fact, didn't have the ulti, so couldn't even get out of that. Good follow flash from Hannah, or escape flash, I should say.
Then you do need to be careful though, Hannah. You're standing pretty far forward.
Yeah, that was a little bit dicey.
Ooh.
Did know that the Alistair didn't have flash, and
yeah,
that is definitely very important information, as Yaharong spotted on a ward, not going to be able to find this paddle star, as the bubble is going to stop this choke. Becca not going to be able to get over there, as now Freded Brion looking for this Cloud Soul point. We'll see whether we can make it a 50-50 as it goes Umti. They do manage to secure the Great Drake on the side of DRX, and now it looks like Freded Brion are just going to get out of there. Hoya, decently strong in that front line, as now Kingan's hopping on over. Umti spots him. Pureshik there as well, as Freded Brion just trying to get themselves towards this mid lane to lock down the turret. I really do like their capitalization of positioning, and Hannah will easily be able to take that one down.
Make great use of the buffs that we saw coming into Jinx a couple of patches earlier ago. Of course, on this patch, she's only been nerfed in terms of her health, as we see the damage coming down here.
Yeah, DRX were posturing, trying to get into position, but teleport through from Freded Brion. It's their turn now, as we're going to be fighting over yet another Cloud Drake. Pureshik trying to chunk out Umti, but he's very tanky with this current build. Yaharong over the wall, exactly where this Zoe wants to be. The bubble not going to connect. And look at DRX, they're just going to burst down this Drake. Umti diving on forward. Hoya drives the train into the front line. It doesn't quite do enough, and Yaharong also not going to quite find that one, but oh my god, the Magnet Storm was so good. Goodbye, Pyoshik. And now Henna's trying to kite this one out, but he's taken immediately in this fight. And everyone on DRX is so low, but they're surviving. Umpty also going to go down as now the Gragas is just massive, gets the double kill, but gets smashed devastatingly in the end of the fight. And Becca just walks away, not quite able to make it. Fredit Brion, it is a 4-for-3 trade. But better setup here from Yaharong. Zoe's one of those champions where sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This time it definitely didn't, as now he's going to be backing. This also feels pretty bad. Yeah, there we go. I believe that was even X-Flash, and that's a shutdown.
Oh, DRX, you know, we're past 25 minutes. We know the stats. Pre-25 minutes, they're not very good. And then as time passes, they get better and better and better. Fred and Brion, I want to see them peel for the Jinx, right? Like, yes, they dove in deep. They had a great engage, but someone needs to protect Henna. Henna is the core of the composition here.
But still, they do have a lot of AoE power. So getting into this Baron pit shouldn't be too much of a problem. Umpty gets on over the wall as Becca has to ult pretty early in this one. Solka has that Banshee's Veil, but look at the Baron. It's down so low. It's stolen by the Jinx! Was that Super Mega Death Rocket? That's ridiculous. Hoya's going to flash out as well. Attract Repel comes in as now Umpty is trying to cause a ruckus. Gets himself a decent ulti as Delight's right in there. Henna goes golden. Can't quite do the damage that he wanted to. And he once again will just get dove on. Yaharong trying to get in now. There's low health bars, but now there's no frontline. Hoya's a zombie. Bao does fall down, but Kingen, he's dived on top of this Zoe, and unfortunately, she's not going to survive this as, the barrel can't actually be activated, of course, because he was sleeping. And, take a bow, my friend, because you're going back to that death chamber one more time. So, the Baron neutralized. Early on in these fights, it does become a big problem. Yaharong as well, he just hasn't been finding the bubbles, as now Kingen being caught out on the side here, as the barrel is going to come through once again. Stun into the wall. That Paddle Star connects. They're going to need more of them out of this Zoe, as the Drake has been started, this time by Fredit Brion. Bubble, going to go wide onto Becca. We need to see more. We need to see these Paddle Stars connecting. More of them just going wide, Hoya soaking a bunch of damage there as a bubble will land onto the Gragas. In goes Delight, but immediately he's headbutted back out. Yaharong landing some more damage there as we get the knock up onto the cow. Umpty running extraordinarily quickly, trying to take down this Drake as DRX do back away for the moment. Now we're looking for a teleport back in. We've got Soul Point finally for Fredit Brion. That's a two-man Shockwave is decent, but the flash immediately. Becker is going to be deleted as now you've got the follow-up team fight. A double kill now for the Jinx as Henna's positioning is much better. Is slowed down though, and there's another cast to come out. He's going to use that to get into even more damage. And now Bauer's pulled the trigger as Pyoshik will get tagged, and that's what happens if the Zoe hits the damage. But the Jinx is also going to fall down. Bao is still at basically full health. And Hoya, yes, he's tanky, but will he actually be able to survive? The Paddle Star once again going wide, and Bao's going to cut down the Scion. And the fight is still very, very close, but this time won by DRX.
We'll let them have it. And then we can wait for the Elder, and then maybe they give that up as well, the flank here.
Yep, in goes King, and the flash body slam is decent onto both of the carries. Henna is just going to get obliterated by the one-man Shockwave, but that's the kind of Shockwave that you're okay with. And you said long game, well, DRX is saying that this one wants to be over right now. As you can see, Bao getting to work on this inner turret, and we'll see with both of the bot lane members dead, how much defense Fredit Brion can actually put up, because this is going to be base broken and should just be a free Baron as well, unless DRX just want to try and siege some Nexus turrets.
I think they can end here, and there is the most reliable damage isn't there, and DRX, they find these openings every single time, Atlas.
Yeah, Yaharong wanting to try and get an execute onto someone, but in goes Bao with the Killer Instinct, gets rid of all of the damage. Umpty relegated to the fountain. Hoya is a zombie. The last Nexus turret will be falling down. It's 8 seconds before Jinx is up, but she's going to witness that 50 gold leak out of her Nexus as DRX do it. They turn around what was a difficult early game. Make your decision easier when it comes to who gets the player of the game. And although we saw so many of these Paddle Stars and Bubbles missing, Yaharong still does the most damage in the game.
really impressive. Honestly, like you said, we saw a lot of them miss, but I think that what he did do very well was he was alive at the end of every fight, and that is a problem that Hannah had. That's something that would have really been alleviated with the Fresh, as you already pointed out numerous times. And I think what DRX have shown here yet again is that even more so than Fred and Brion, they're a team where they're basically like a worse version of what Dumb Kia does. With Dumb Kia, if there's an opening, they find it 100%.
Yep.
DRX, they're not quite there, right? Like they're not at the point where they can always win games from this position. But the more I see of them, the more I'm like relatively certain that they are going to repeatedly find these openings, which would create a situation where you just need to be even more aggressive towards them, and I don't know if Fred and Brion have that. From range, the DRX composition doesn't actually have reliable front line. A Lucian here would even further exacerbate the problem.
Oh, this would be fun.
That would be juicy, but also I would not like that. I mean, you can go for it, you know,
I mean,
like get.
Well, we were talking about consistent damage, and, you know, Kassadin can get into a backline and really mess things up, but this is far more standard, as the Syndra will be locked in.
So now it becomes a question of, can DRX snowball the top side of the map and then create a situation in which it doesn't matter if you get to bow and back up, because like you have a fat crocodile, right? Or Nidalee Spears chunk you for half your health, and they can kite back decently well. With the power of the disengage of the Rel, and the fact that, interestingly enough, the hard engage from Fred and Brion isn't actually that amazing. They have really good, once it's going on, their secondary initiation is amazing, but Sign, he can get in, but like it's not like a Gragas, right, that we saw last game where you can flash body slam on top of someone and the fight starts right away.
Lilia, coveted jungler right now, extraordinarily strong. I believe that Sion versus Renekton should neutralize towards the top side, even though the Renekton will have that early shove.
But Hoya is full health. This is not a big wave. I think he should be fine.
Yeah, see how well he's actually going to play this. As there's the stun, should be able to put up the shield, but it's not enough. Kingen tanks up the turret and flashes away. As Zombie Scion should be able to tidy up this minion wave, but still, good first blood to go over to DRX. One to gather. Just aggressively forcing some mid-priority. And as you can see, all 5 members grouped up around Shelly, wanting to make sure that Pioshik's not going to be able to shove down that top outer turret. Bao is slowly getting here as there's the flash in from Umpty. He's putting people to sleep as the train slightly goes wide, but a max range hook is beautiful onto Sulka as Henna finds the front line. Shelly's just going to get ignored as now Becker is delivered as a free kill to Hoya. Kingen just being slaughtered. That's a handbag just off the side of the river, and Hoya avoids that spear so beautifully. Fred and Brion come alive around the Rift Herald. And he's still going to be silent, right? But right now it's looking pretty sad. So there's the pounce in, and Hoya, yeah, he's just going to take the sad dash and gets burnt down by a red buff as Yaharong's just going to get solo kill in the mid lane. All right.
What?
Okay. That's the thing that happened. We'll have to have a look at the replay to see how it happened, but it happened.
How far ahead Kingen is. So this is still a back and forth. And yeah, Hoya, like, he's getting his own way from the wave here. Like, even if you know that the Nidalee might be around, there's a reason why this combination is so fit. And I think this is also one of the few situations where Sion actually does have a really big problem with doing, especially if he gets no jungle attention, as this is just really straightforward.
Just gets ulted and dies.
Yeah.
And flashes. That's actually pretty cute. But
this is really well played, yeah. I mean, it's well played by Yaharong, but it's also like, alright, like he's like, I'm okay with this. Like, that is fine. You can engage onto me all you want, as long as I stay alive throughout the initial burst, which, oh guys, it's just, this is dirty. This is just bullying.
Yep. Well, he's going to try and keep the minion wave away from the turret. A teleport is going to come in. That's a decent ulti as Kingen trying to get out. The turret is going to fire off another shot, but it's not quite enough as Hoya, yeah, the zombie version, going to get out of there as Pioshik flashes some SKT. And I believe that was a cancelled teleport as well.
Yep.
From the mid lane. Sometimes you want to press R, and Sulka felt that moment. It is going to be Shirley being taken down here by Umpty. Collects that one for himself very cleanly. Double Herald so far. Hopefully it's going to feel a bit fiery here today instead. And we're going to use the Rift Herald to try and create as much space as possible, and also bully out a bit of control around the Drake, as you can see, a lot of vision and control here for Fred Brion as they look to take down the inner turret as well. So already a lot of value, even if they can't get control around the Drake. And you were saying, let's group and try and teamfight around something. Well, they've found a dragon to do just that. As speaking of which, Drake's going to get a little bit mad here at DRX, as it looks like they're just going to try and rush this one down. Umpty's going to land a bowling ball, but only onto the Drake, as the orb finds Solka. And now Hoya goes in there. Umpty now into the backline, takes a lantern to get to relative safety. As is going to be Drake secured by DRX, but the fight is so far going relatively well for them as well, as Pioshik grabs a double kill. The zombie Scion will be taken down. Double kill includes the Drake, by the way, and yeah, those Monk W's certainly working out.
Because you need to solve the Kingdom problem. Pioshik is pretty fat, and then you need to get on Bowers to go in.
There's a big old play as Becca dives towards Henna, and Henna just sets up with his long-range weapons. Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't really do too much. The flash over the wall avoids Kingin, whose dominance will keep him alive for now, but it's a decent little pick there for Fred Brion right as the Baron spawns. I probably wouldn't recommend it. However, could make things exciting. They are within 2,000 gold right now, as 4-0-1 now, through just getting whichever damage he can.
TS Flash.
Yeah. Drake getting mad at Fred Brion right now as Umpty sets up the passive. Throwing the bowling balls through. Good avoidance there by DRX. A Super Mega Death Rocket just to try and soften the Fred Brion members. Hook goes wide and out in goes Becca with the Magnet Storm. Scatter the Weak doesn't do too much as King gets exhausted. Immediately goes golden, but Becca is going to die. They've traded tanks right now as Kingan's trying to escape, but Henna untouched in the backline. Pioshik does get that soul point. Now it's a 4v4 that Fred Brion don't look like they want to take. Henna had the short-range guns, which really didn't help them out in that situation.
I think you can push there as Fred Brion. You still have your Shockwave available, but without that front line, they don't dare and actually go for it. You do have the Crescendum available here, and maybe they want to go for it.
They have a lot of Baron damage with this Aphelios right now, who does have Severum and Crescendum. Delight going down below half, and DRX, they picked up the scent a little bit too quickly. And Spear is going to steal away the blue buff as well. Oh my goodness. Pioshik, why don't you just take their lunch money as well while you're at it? They do find him. Super Mega Death Rocket does absolutely nothing. But DRX happy feeding just a little bit between choices. And they do lose out on the Drake, and they're not quite able to start off the Baron in time. They are still going to go for it. Whether it's going to be enough is going to be the question, as Fred Brion still moving their way around. Don't know whether they have enough blue trinkets left, as it's down to half health now. Fred Brion getting in there.
This is winnable.
It is. Bowling ball once again going to go wide. Umpty, you've got Flash. Maybe it's time to be the hero, but these spears are raining down. Pioshik is playing so well on this Nidalee as he gets back into the pit. Looks like this could be a potential 50-50, although it is a level advantage as in goes the train. Finds just Kingin, goes golden, wants to take the lantern, but there's a control ward there. And the Scion is going to be taken down without any follow-up from Fred Brion. And now, Umpty wants to be able to get forward. He's not able to secure it, even with the Shockwave to answer. And now Henna down at half health. Delight wanting to help him out there and does so. Kingin slowed down. There's the Unleash Power from Solka as Yaharong runs pretty quick, but that's another Super Mega Death Rocket. And maybe these Cloud Drakes are going to be great, because that's going to go home. But maybe via the Death Chamber, as Pioshik will turn up. He's going to miss that spear, as, yeah, question marks indeed, Mr. Umpty.
I love the idea from Fred Brion there. They tried to set up a situation where, so it's DRX completely peeling away from the Baron there when it was around 2k health. And then
now it looks like he's building towards a death cap, because why not? Just more damage, please. As the bowling ball will connect, but the inhibitor turret will be taken down. Siege minions still here, as the hook is going to go slightly wide. And Umpty, we need more than just fishing with these bowling balls off to the side off cooldown.
Oh, Hoya!
Can he drift his way into the back line to set up for Yaharong is the question. No, the stun comes through. He won't be able to get that Shockwave on top of him. Pioshik down to about half health as Kingin does have the ulti running. Hoya trying to soak damage here, and Kingin doing exactly the same thing. Shockwave lands onto two, but Delight already taken down. Moonlight Vigil for some value, but only onto Becca, and Hoya's also going to fall. Yaharong not finding the value he needed, and this could just be the end of the game. as it's Henna, Umpty, and Yaharong against the world. Oh, well, Henna does a lot of damage, okay. We forgot how many years were represented in this team, as the Spear's also doing a fair bit. Pyosik should be able to get to work on this inhibitor on the top side, so the game's not over, but it's pretty close.
Well, that is as good as it gets as Fred Brian. You do force the flash right here on Bao, so maybe in a subsequent fight you can make something happen.
You know, Pyosik is landing so many of these key spears. He keeps sending Henna back to base. And that is going to be Cloud Soul locked down by DRX.
That's not a surprising one, right? Oh, he did
go in!
Yeah,
they finally get the sleep onto Solka this time, but he survives for so long, gets so much of his damage down. The Aphelios, in the meantime, is going to be obliterated, and Bao in the backline is fighting with Umpty, who's just going to run away, burns down. And good night, Mr. Hoya, who this time around dies last, as it's a quadra kill for Pyosik, who honestly put this game in his backpack and took it all the way to 35 minutes, where they destroy Fredit Brion. One of the first 2-0s that DRX have ever been able to get so far this split.
I'll take this as a win-win, Atlas, because we see two things. One, Fredit Brion, indubitably, they've progressed, believer.
Yeah.
We'll believe.
Yeah.
The DRX is a good
That being said, I think they just came off a victory, so I think that this is at least 3 or 4. So maybe this is the moment where I have to be like, yes, DRX are amazing. Sign me up.
Can you guess who I gave my POG vote? I know, it's I wonder.
It might have been Becca. I'm assuming, but he had a lot of great Magnums.
He was good.